Dr. Amy Sapola, Director of Pharmacy with an F at the Chef's Garden, and today I'm making a spring rhubarb salad. And this salad is chocked full of rhubarb. We're gonna have baked rhubarb, rhubarb dressing, as well as some crisp rhubarb skin on top. And really it's all about spring with the salad. So we have our kale, spinach, and then of course some peas and some mint. So I'm really excited to get started with this. First, we're gonna go ahead and do the dressing. I have here some Dijon mustard. It's about 2 tablespoons. I have apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons. And then I have a tablespoon each of onions as well as garlic. And I've pre-chopped the garlic so that way you increase the allicin that's in there. I also have about 1/4 cup of olive oil here. And then I've cooked down rhubarb. This is a cup of rhubarb as well as about 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed orange juice. So I'm gonna take this and add it into the Vitamix here. And if you leave on the skin, you get that beautiful pink color. And then I'll add in the olive oil, onions and garlic. This is the apple cider vinegar and the Dijon mustard. And then I'll just add a little bit of salt to taste and a couple cracks of black pepper. And then we'll just blend this up. So here's the rhubarb that was tossed in honey earlier. I'm just gonna set it here so it has a chance to cool. So I cut up about 2 to 3 stalks of rhubarb here and just sliced them relatively thin and then tossed them with a creamed honey. And creamed honey is actually honey that's been whipped. And so you can see it's beautiful. It reminds me of like marshmallow fluff. It was a little bit difficult to kind of toss this rhubarb with the creamed honey. You could have warmed the cream honey, or I could have warmed the cream honey ahead of time before tossing it, but either way works. So now that it's been tossed with this creamed honey, the rhubarb is ready to go on the salad. You just want to make sure it's cool enough that you can handle it and it's not too warm. So here I have kale as well as spinach, and these are both packed with phytonutrients. Kale is a brassica vegetable, so has sulforaphane. The spinach, you can just see this beautiful green color, and it has chlorophyll in it. And many of the phytonutrients are actually better absorbed with some fat. And so our dressing has olive oil in it, which is heart healthy, of course, but also helps the absorption of other nutrients. So it helps the absorption of the phytonutrients, plus vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So to build our salad, I'm going to start with just a little bit of kale. And you know, at home, I usually don't chop up my kale too much. If I was going to, so say I wanted smaller pieces, I would probably just take my kitchen scissors and cut it into smaller pieces. This young kale in the spring is really tender. Sometimes I'll massage my kale to get it a little bit softer and easier to digest. But in this case, when it's really tender and it's springtime, it's unnecessary. So I'm going to leave it whole because I think it's beautiful. And then with the spinach, again, I like leaving the leaves nice and big. They're so beautiful and they have really great texture this time of year. So I'm just adding those. You'll see they come like this in our boxes. So, you know, it's really the whole plant, and you can see these pink stems. This is where the sugars kind of accumulate, and you can cut off the stems or just kind of tear them right here. But I don't like to throw away this piece, right? Like all these stems still have a lot of nutrients in them. So I'll take this and make a pesto, or I'll put it in the freezer and use it in a stock. There's so many great ways to use it. So I tried to throw away very little when I'm cooking. So now that I've got my greens here, I'm gonna just go ahead and start adding some of this rhubarb that's been cooked, and it's nice and soft and tender. This was just about 5 minutes in the oven, and I preheated the oven to 450 degrees. Set a timer and just keep a really close eye on it because we don't want it to turn into mush. This is just nice and tender. And then I have some feta cheese, and I'm just gonna crumble a little bit of feta on here. If you're vegan, you could definitely use a non-dairy cheese, any sort of soft crumbly cheese. Then I have some raw walnuts, and walnuts just remind me of little brains, right? And they're great for your brain. They have omega-3s in them, really delicious, healthy fats. So adding those, and then I have some sprouted pumpkin seeds here. These are sprouted and just lightly salted, so I'll add those in. We have our pea tendrils, and there's actually 3 different types of pea tendrils here. They have almost the texture of like a sprout. And I have some mint here, and mint pairs really well with rhubarb. We were looking online earlier, and you can do mint rhubarb mojitos. You can put mint rhubarb bars. Like mint and rhubarb are just a happy little pair. I took the skin from the rhubarb and just tossed it with a little bit of olive oil and put it in the air fryer for like 5 minutes and just let it get crispy. So it's a really fun crispy texture. When you peel your rhubarb, again, you don't have to throw away the skin. So we'll add that on top. And then we can just put on our dressing when we're ready. And we have our salad with 3 different ways to use rhubarb. So the crispy skin, the baked rhubarb, as well as the dressing. And rhubarb is actually really rich in anthocyanins. And anthocyanins are that red purple color. And it's one of the phytonutrients we get the least of. So by incorporating rhubarb in the spring, it's seasonal, it's fresh, it's delicious. You're also getting that like tart, sour type of flavor, and you're getting phytonutrients. So you can add the rhubarb vinaigrette just as much or as little as you like. I like to just add a little pinch of salt to my salads as well. It's always important to season your salad. And then of course I have to give it a try. This is so good. That tart rhubarb flavor and the kale and the pumpkin seeds with the crunch and that dressing really pairs nicely with the whole thing. It just really brings it together. Thank you for joining me in my home kitchen today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Chef's Garden, and you can find this recipe and many more at farmerjonesfarm.com.